Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Got some plants to look at, but first of all, the news. There is some. Heating man came yesterday and ferreted around in the roof and ferreted around in all the rooms and in the airing cupboard and basically said the unit that decides where the hot water goes, whether it goes to hot water, central heating, one or the other or both, is fried. So that's got to be replaced. I knew that anyway, so that's good because that's now official. That will get fixed. He put some cleaning fluid in the system, hoping to unjam it's virtually a total blockage on one of the radiators. That radiator's in my music studio room, which isn't going to be a music studio room until it's warm. So either the radiator needs to be fixed or it's summertime, one or the other. Not working in that sort of thing in the cold. It doesn't work like that. And he's coming back in a few days' time when the stuff has had chance to hopefully shift that blockage. He did say he doesn't want to do a power flush on an old system like this because he said 9 times out of 10 you cause more problems than you solve because you find every weak spot in the system by putting pressure under it, and you start getting leaks all over the place, including some that may be under the floorboards. And so I'll leave it to him. He knows. He seems to know what he's doing. So that's the heating stuff. Some news on Mojo, Fluffy Cat, which is not good. I think he's virtually deaf now because he doesn't respond to noises very well unless there's movement in his vision, and I don't think his vision's as good as it used to be. And he's now decided that the litter tray is not for him. He likes the mat inside the front door, which was put there to wipe feet on basically, but it's now become his toilet, which means the house is a bit smelly, and I'm just going to have to live with it. I've tried everything to get him to use the litter tray and he won't have it. He's never really settled down since I moved, quite honestly. He's still yowls for no apparent reason, stares at rooms as if to say, what's that doing there? He's still not right. But then they are both 17, or very nearly. They are getting on a bit now. Anyway, that's Mojo. What else? Probate, I'm going to give him a ring today. I don't expect much joy. I suspect that having lost the documents, and I've had to send some more, which they still haven't acknowledged. That's why I want to phone, just to make sure they've got them. They've been delivered, I can see that, because it was a tracked service, but whether they've actually done anything with them or not, I don't know. And I don't think I'm going to get that priority service that they said I would give. In which case we got 8 weeks again. 7. They've already had one, which is ridiculous. But so be it. It's a department of government-sponsored department that you can't get at. You can't go and knock on their door and say, "Oi, what are you doing about that?" They're shut away somewhere. So that's that. I've sent an email to Zuza, Spiceotic Plants. I bought from them a lot. There have been many unboxing videos with those plants. There's only ever been one unwrapping video, which was the Welsh Orchid Festival, which must be at least 2 years ago because of the lockdowns and everything, but quite a long time ago, where I did actually meet the couple who run the company. But they're coming out to play the RHS Wisley show that I'm taking a coach load to last Saturday of March, 26th I think it is. They're actually going to be there, so I get to meet them again. So I've sent an email requesting some plants to bring to the show, so they don't have to wrap them up and I don't have to pay for the postage, which has been agreed. Yay! So I don't want to go mad because they may get inundated. And I've heard before where people have pre-ordered and plants have been taken to shows and then they just don't turn up, or they just say, well, actually I don't want them now, and it messes people about. I don't do that, but some do apparently. Anyway, so there's that to look forward to. One plant is one I've been after for some considerable time. I know somebody who's got it, and I've always said if I see that I will get it. I've seen it, I will get it. And a couple of other just, you know, pretty bloom must have sort of thing. But I did go through their website and have a look. So I'm peering out the window here. My large maple tree that we managed to get, it's a tree basically in a tub that we managed to bring from the other house, the buds are bursting. That's going to be out soon. That means I really am going to, so I'm just checking the bonsai now. My 3 maple bonsai should be repotted. One of them has to be, the other 2 I could get away with not doing them this year. But it will slow their growth because they're pot bound basically, their roots are just going to have filled the pot by now. But one of them must be done, and the time to do it is just as the buds move, so I'm watching them to pick that point. And if the tree in the tub's coming out now, then maples are on the move generally speaking, so I have to keep my eye on the others. We'll have to get those going then. Some thoughts, spare some thoughts. I can't believe you're in a part of the world that doesn't know what's going on in Europe, and all I can say is that there are some very naive people if they think that's the end of it, because it's not. It's not the end of it. When that bit's finished, yeah, the reason for it, we do not want a westernised country on our border. Let's have a look along the border then and see how many others there are. You think that's just the first? I'm pretty confident I could predict who's going to be next as well. And about as glum and gloomy as you can get, I do believe the last World War started by invading a certain country. And they may well be next. Spare some thoughts for people all around the world that have got brothers, sisters, relatives, mums and dads, grandparents in that country that's just sitting there doing nothing wrong and is now getting penalised for it just because of their political opinions, not because of anything other than that. It's unbelievable. Spare a thought for Danny, Miss Orchid girl. All of her relatives are in Romania. Where does that border? Is that one next? It's not funny, it really isn't. But I can't see what can be done about it apart from joining in, and that will be World War III. It's not mucking about. It's, oh no, they wouldn't. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. At the drop of a hat. So spare some thoughts for people, you know. Just imagine if it was your mum and dad that lived in that country, especially if they're sort of on the edge of the country rather than in the middle. Yeah, it's not nice. Anyway, let's have a look at some plants. I get the camera down so you can get seasick for a while. If that's your worst affliction today, then you've got off lightly. Right. Get it back in me hand. Ugh. Right, first thing is I'm not getting the plant down because it's not fully open, but the zygo heading towards the glass there has cracked its first bloom, and the one out to the right hand side is going to follow it very soon. The tips have already parted, so I'm watering my pots today, which means I've got to pick that one up to water it anyway, so I'll get that one down, and then when the blooms are open fully we can have a closer look. That's the Zygopetalum Louisendorf coming out. The Infundibulum bloom on the far side of the plant has opened, facing the wrong way. I might get that one down as well and see if I can sort of twist those round. But I'll be watering that again, you know, today, so we'll get a look at it. And those two enormous buds just to the right there, that's one of my Noblies that's going to push open soon. Isn't much going on over here. There was something else. The Cattleya buds are pushing on. That's my red Cattleya, that one. They're sort of, you know, they've cleared their sheath. They've got a nice thick stem now, so coming out the top there. And, you know, a set of buds. A few buds have blasted, but there's still going to be some that will make it. So that's good. Yeah, and my only Phalaenopsis spike has opened its first bloom. Now these live in the on the kitchen windowsill, so there, not far to walk. And quite honestly, out of those, this is probably the weakest plant. It's only got 4 leaves. Most of the others have got five or 6, and better root systems, although the roots on this aren't too bad, quite honestly. But anyway, the one with the least number of leaves is the one that's decided to push a spike up. And it was unexpected, but they take quite a while to mature, and I'll see how close in I can get so that we can have a look, because the markings on this are delicate and very fine. It's a very, very delicate pattern. Let me see if I can drop down and still stay in focus, because the 2 bottom sepals are slightly a different colour. Anyway, the markings on that are very, very fine. It's a series of spots and streaks, but yeah, very nice. So that came out. Other stuff, you've seen everything else that's out at the moment, so that's that. And as I said, I've got another orchid show in, well, not this Saturday coming, the following Saturday, which is Wessex. That's the other one I belong to. I'll try and do a video in the same style as the one I've just done for Bournemouth. Takes a bit longer, but every time I think about time, oh, that's going to take a while. What else am I going to do with that time? I spend an awful lot of that time just sitting around, you know, trying to think of something to do. It's that pesky cat on the roof again. Actually, he's a youngster cat. Keeps chasing leaves around, but he's sheltering out the rain at the moment. Little tabby cat. But, I'm surprised Mojo must be asleep on the bed, because if Mojo was on his windowsill looking at the garden, he'd have seen him, and he comes downstairs all wide-eyed and bushy-tailed looking for a way out to go and chase it. Of course there's no way out in this house. Well, they'll be allowed in and out once the better weather comes and I can open this door. Then they can come and go a bit. At least get to go and have a look round the garden and that. But yeah, so we've got that orchid show coming up, and then, as I said, we've got the RHS national show at Wisley a couple of weeks after. Well, it's the last Saturday of March, and I'm off there with a coach load. I've pre-ordered some plants from one of the vendors. Who knows, I might see some other things. They might bring along something that I can add to the list or whatever, or other vendors are there as well. We'll see what they've got. And it's not going to be the show it used to be, that's for sure, because the European vendors that used to come along won't be there. I've been reliably told, and now I've actually seen the list, so they're not going to be there. And they will be disappointed not to be able to come. You know, a lot of those vendors have made friends over the many years they've been coming to the few English shows, that, you know, the bigger English shows, and they, you know, those people come up and have a chat. I mean, at Malvern, there's one of the vendors there actually brings wine, and you know, if you're a long-term friend of theirs, you go and have a drink with them, you know. as long as you're not driving, obviously. But yeah, it's a very friendly thing, the community, and it's been broken. You know, that link that made the UK part of that community has been broken, and a lot of these things weren't thought through. You know, the basic principle of we want to leave the EU and do our own thing is all well and good, but there's lots of details that weren't thought through, and this is just a minor little hiccup in the big scheme of things, but the plant world is suffering, you know. So well, certainly the orchid world is. And it is difficult, you know. As I said, if a vendor brings their plants over, they're going to have to do a lot of paperwork and pay a lot of money to get those plants here. And the daft thing is, if they then don't sell them, they're going to have to pay again to take them home with them, going the other way, which is just daft. I mean, I'd have thought that the way to do it would be to have a pre-sale with a UK vendor or some UK vendors, whereby all the plants that they bring are pre-sold. They either get sold at the show to customers, or what's left goes on to UK vendors, so they don't have to take them home. But whether it will be worthwhile or not, I don't know. At the moment, they're just not coming. And I've seen the list that are coming to Malvern. It's funny, you know, people can come from various other parts of the world, but not from Europe. It's just a joke. Anyway, we're stuck with it. Whatever it is, we're stuck with it until something changes. And it's going to be a long, long time before everything is settled down enough that somebody can be bothered to look at this particular problem. So we may be stuck with it forever, who knows. Anyway, I've got watering to do now. I do have a problem actually. When I set the RO unit up in the sink, I had that slight leak, which I was a bit annoyed about. And of course, I collected all the water, thinking it's RO water. Unfortunately, it's RO water mixed with tap water because of the leak. Yeah, so it's not pure water. And I mean, one of my big 5-litre containers, the TDS on that is 105. So, you know, a reasonable amount of tap water got in there. And the only thing I can think, I'm not wasting it, you know, the only thing I can think to do is when I mix up some RO water again, I'll have to make sure that the leak doesn't get in it, if you see what I mean. It goes down the sink with the rest of the waste stuff. And the pure water is collected. I can then mix it and water it down, if you see what I mean. I mean, the stuff I've been using has got a TDS of between 40 and 60. My RO water's already got a TDS of 10 or 11, so there is an element of tap water in there, but it's not enough to worry about. That's still a very low reading. There's not enough in there to harm orchids or anything. And today I'm watering my ordinary pots, so they're a pretty sturdy bunch. It's not like I'm doing the things like the Masdevallias and the Miltoniopsis, the more delicate stuff. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think to do, is to produce some more pure RO water and mix it in with the higher TDS values and bring them down. You know, if I can get it down from 100 down to 50, then it's usable. And I end up with twice as much. Yeah, so a bit of work to do there. Anyway, I'm off. I've got watering to do, and the first thing I've got to do is test the containers that I've got to find the one that's got the lowest TDS, because I haven't got any more RO water at the moment, so we'll just have to find the lowest value and use that. Supposed to be a flush today. Well, it won't be a proper flush if I'm using a water with a TDS of 50. Anyway, we do what we can, we use what we can. Nothing's going to die as a consequence of having a bit of tap water mixed in. So anyway, I will see you next time. Thanks for dropping by, and all good fun. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the first video of the new style project orchids done soon. I won't say tomorrow definitely, but I want one done this week, and that will be showing all of the plants. That will be in one video, so that will be the initial look, if you see what I mean. And rather than splitting that into the 3 groups, I'll do that as one single video, and then when we do the update on them, because the groups are smaller and they're all going to be video clips, I might be doing them a bit more frequently. So instead of waiting 3 months, I might only do 2. And when we get into that, there's a reasonable reason for that. Some of the plants I'm going to choose have a very short blooming period, and I wouldn't want to miss it. But then I've got the option, because I'm doing it differently this year, is that if any of the project orchids that are selected to monitor right through the growing season and on into the winter actually bloom when they're not due to be filmed, I'll film them anyway and include that clip. We're doing it differently, so I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity of something in bloom, so we'll include them anyway. Anyway, see you next time, and thanks for dropping by.